Okay, so in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to take your Inventor part file of the bridge and make a drawing file. Again, this is worth a significant amount of points, so you need to make sure you're paying attention as you're going through. And this part of the procedure is not that difficult. Again, the main thing is that you need to have the part file completed, everything assembled, a loading platform on there, everything's colored, have all your supports, and then you're ready to move on to the actual drawing file itself. All right, so what you want to do, make sure you're in Autodesk Inventor, and you're going to go to the application icon, and you're going to create a new drawing file. Okay, so open that up, and you basically get a default sheet of paper here, and it has some information about the title block and things like that. And I'm going to have you guys change that stuff. So we're going to get rolling with right click on where it says Sheet 1 in the browser, and go to Edit Sheet. And the default is C, and we're going to change that to an A size, all right, which is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which will print to any of the printers then in the building. All right, click OK. Then what we're going to do is we're going to right click where it says Drawing 1, and you're going to go to iProperties. Under iProperties, I want you to click on the Summary tab, and you're going to type in the title of this, which is going to be all caps. And you're going to type in Bridge Project. Subject is going to be STEM, and then place your block in there. So it's block 1, 2, 3, whichever it is. Go ahead and place that in there. Manager is just your initials. Company is the same as the subject, so you can actually just go through and copy that, paste it in, and you're going to apply those items. Click on Project, and part number is going to be whatever the current year is, so it's 2016, 17, 18, whatever the current year is. And then this should be your second drawing file. And the first drawing file should be of your practice parts, and this should be your second. So if it is your second, you're going to put in 02. Okay, and you're going to apply that as well and close it. You're going to see now that information populated into the title block. Okay, the next item is you're going to go into Base. Again, we're under the Place Views tab here, and click on Base, and we're gonna locate your part file. So you probably have that saved in your STEM folder. All right, so here's the file that I'm going to be working with here, and I'm going to open that one up. All right, and currently this scale, you can see it gives me a preview here. If I just move my mouse off to the right hand side, and I have the scale at 1/4. If I increase this a little larger, you can see how it does make that larger in the area here, my design area. And we're going to go with a half scale. We can't go with a full 1:1 scale, because remember, your bridge is 14 inches, and the piece of paper here, we're designing it in an 8.5 by 11, so it's 11 inches across. So you can see how it's beyond the paper. So we do need to scale it back, and I find half scale works pretty good. So we're going to put half scale in there, and you're going to make sure that the orientation is a front view, and I'm just going to drag that out of the way a little bit so you can see here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to left click that front view, and then I'm going to move my drawing up straight vertical, and this gives me my top view, and I'm going to click that one in, and then I'm going to go back to the front view and move it to the right hand side. I'm going to left click that, and then I'm going to move off to the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to click that in. And so I'm left clicking those, and then I'm going to right click and select Create. Now this creates all those views, and I also have an isometric view here, which you can see has off the page. It doesn't look really good right now, but we're going to change that. Alright, so these are all half scale of what we actually drew that. The next thing I'm going to have you guys do, with this view here, we're going to actually make this a 1/4 scale. So go back into this, you're going to double click this red dotted line that goes around the perimeter of the object, or that view that was placed in. So you're going to double click that, double left click that. It brings you back into this drawing view window that we were just in. And I want you to change the scale to 1/4. And I also want you, under style here, I want you to shade this. and then you're going to click OK. So now it shades it to the wood color that we had in there earlier, and I'm just going to place these, space these out a little bit more. I can click and just drag those and space them out, maximize the page here, and I just want to make sure that this is on. There we go. So now we have all of our views on the page. We have a front, a top, and a right side view, and an isometric showing the three-dimensional representation of that. Okay, next thing, we're going to go into annotate. Alright, so we placed our views in. Now we're going to basically put some labels in here. So we're going to go to annotate, and I want you to click on parts list. When we click on parts list, you might need to search for your file again, your part file again, under that search folder with the magnifying glass. It's already brought up here, so I'm just going to click OK, leave everything else the default in here. And this is going to create a parts list. We're going to drag that to the upper right hand corner, left click and drop that in. I want you to double click on it. So right now we basically have one part in here, which is the bridge. Again, I'm going to select, I double clicked that on the parts list. I'm going to select the default name, which is going to be the original file name, and I just want you to put in all caps again, Balsa Bridge. So whatever the default name is, just change it to Balsa Bridge. Balsa Bridge Design. In description, you can just put balsa, because that's the material that we're using. Alright, so just put in balsa and apply that. Alright, the next item, let's put some dimensions in here. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on dimension. So it's in annotate on left hand side, click on dimension. Let's go ahead and place some dimensions on here. I'd like you to have at least 6 to 8 dimensions on here, and you can dimension anything from the overall length, height, the width. Those are things I obviously would dimension, but you could then dimension the whole diameter, the spacing maybe between your supports, the lengths of the supports. Just get about 6 to 8 dimensions on here that label everything. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take a minute, and to place the dimensions, all I have to do is left click on a point that I want to dimension to. So I'm going to dimension the length here. So I'm going to go from this point over to this point, and then I can pull a dimension out. You can see how it is 14 inches. It will ask you bring this edit dimension drop down box, and you just click OK through that. And then we're going to again place some additional dimensions. So the overall height I'm going to put in there. Put the overall width in. Maybe I want to dimension the circle here. The spacing in between. My supports. Maybe the angle of the support. So I want to label one of these angles in here. Alright, so I can label from one point to the other point, and I can give that that's a 54-degree angle through there. Alright. The height of the platform itself. We can place that in there. Alright, so there's several items that you can dimension. Feel free, again, to take some time and dimension, depending on what your bridge. What your bridge design is and things like that. Just dimension, like I said, about 6 to 8 items in there. And I'm going to try to I'm going to dimension this in a different location. I don't like how that's going through the 12. So if you need to move a dimension, you can just move that to a different position, and that's fine. Alright, so now we have those dimensions in there, and drawing looks pretty good. We're going to just place some simple text in, so that's going to be the next thing. So I'm going to go to text, we're going to basically put a label down here. So I want you to click on the text tool, left click and drag a text box in this open area down here. You have a text box that pops up. We're going to center the text. I want you to change the size to 0.2, and you're going to bold this and underline it. And we're just going to put in all caps, Bridge Design. And then I want you to take the bold and underline off, and I want you to put in the scale. And the scale is 1/2. So we're going to put that down there. We're going to put just a second text box right below the isometric drawing. And again, we're going to make this 0.2. No bold, no underline. We're going to center it though. And I just want you again to put scale. And this one was 1/4. And I'm going to press escape, get my selection cursor. Just move that in a more ideal location. I'm going to bump this up a little bit as well. Alright, now that looks pretty good. I'm just going to move this down a little bit. And that looks good. So we have our dimensions on here. We have a parts list on here with our description. We have an isometric drawing that's a 1/4 scale. Then we have the 1/2 inch scale, or half scale. I'm sorry, half scale for the bridge itself. We have all of our dimensions, and everything looks sharp. So the next thing that you'd want to do is just make sure that you do save this. So go to the application icon, and you're going to go save it. All right, so you can save as, save it into your STEM folder. And you can save it as bridge project, things like that. And then you're going to want to print this out. Okay, so make sure you print it out and turn that in for your points. Again, this is worth a significant amount of points just to get this portion of the project done. But that's really it. Again, if you have any questions, ask a classmate that might have been through this section already, or you can talk to your instructor, or just watch the video over again, slow it down, and just watch a certain section of it if you need to, if you're a little stuck on something. All right. Okay, good luck.